I'm Jose.
And we're your token theater friends, people who love theater so much that they're going to the theater tonight instead of on a Valentine's Day date, even though they're kind of single.
Our guest today is playwright Kristine Haruna Lee, whose play Suicide Forest is going to open at the Bushwick Starr February 27th. And you'll find out when's it running through if you watch the whole interview, because we got breaking news for you.
Yes, I love when we break news on this show. And it's like a messy, fun, kind of perverse play. So it's very exciting. So let's go to the interview. Hi, Kristine.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. We're excited to have you. So for the people who maybe won't get to see the Suicide Forest production in New York, but fingers crossed we'll get to see it at some point, what is Suicide Forest?
I describe Suicide Forest as a bilingual nightmare play. Let me unpack that.
Yes. There's so much.
Yeah, it's really a jam-packed play on so many levels, but it was originally inspired by Adrienne Kennedy's Funny House of a Negro. She does this thing with that play where she's like using her own dark psychic space as like the landscape of the play, and I was so struck by that. And so Suicide Forest was my attempt of creating this like Japanese American identity play that's tapping into like a really severely dark psychic space in me. The story follows this salaryman, which is a Japanese businessman, as well as this high school girl named Azusa, and the two of them are in this nightmare space, which is like I think of as like inside me, and they're just like drowning in this space that's like all about shame and self-erasure, self-hatred and loathing, just really the dark aspects of Japanese society, this shame-based society. And then part two of the play takes place in the actual forest. And in the forest there is this god or demon character named Mad that's played by my actual mother. And I'll be playing Azusa. And this demon god character is Shinigami, which in Japanese means this god who ushers people towards their death. And then, and also there's 4 really cute goats too, prancing about.
Why not?
Why not? But the play takes kind of a sharp turn there towards the end when Azusa and Mad meet, and it becomes this mother-daughter reconciliation, or reconciling with the presence of death and the presence of intergenerational pain, and seeing if it's possible, despite the culture and language barrier, to achieve some kind of rebirth together.
Yeah.
What
was the conversation like when you first talked to your mom about being part of this project? Because your mom's also a performer.
Yeah. So she started dancing Buto out of the blue. Buto is like this experimental Japanese dance form where the performers like paint their bodies head to toe in all white, and they look very ghostly and creepy. And she found Buto 7 years ago out of the blue, and has been really active in the Buto scene in Seattle, and I've been watching her kind of evolve in that. And so performance kind of became this language that we all of a sudden shared. So when I approached her, in my very like elementary Japanese, I'm like, hey, will you be in this show with me? Aya, who directs Suicide Forest, and I talked about it, and we would love to have you in it. and she was like so game, so down.
Wow. But how's it been affecting your relationship?
I think like there was an assumption on my part that we could approach this, like inside of this piece, we could be like totally equal and equitable with each other and like perfect, but we're completely not, and it's like really mother-daughter relationship comes first. And whenever, or like we'll start as artists and then like when things get hard, we devolve back into mother-daughter dynamics. So I mean, it's been really nice to have Aya and like this whole Japanese heritage like actors and team holding that space with us.
I was so excited and several other emotions along with that when I first read that Adrienne Kennedy's work had inspired this play. Because I think that one of the biggest tricks and one of the biggest lies that, white people try to impose on people of color is the notion that you can only look up to the people who look like you. And that's why people of color can't get anything done anywhere in this country because, everyone in positions of power and everyone who they see who is creating is white. So the fact that you were inspired by one of the great African American playwrights who doesn't get her work produced as often as she should. I was just so thrilled with that because you're like debunking that white people myth. That's not true. Yeah. So, but I would really love to have you like dig into that. When you first were inspired by Adrienne's work, did any part of you go like, maybe I should, wait and find someone, a playwright, who has maybe Japanese heritage and maybe try to explore that? Or why was it that Adrienne's take on race in America was the thing that just like sparked the play for you?
Yeah, no, I don't think it could have been any other way. Like her ability to cut through the bullshit and put that like nightmare part of herself, just push that forward was so gutsy and like really spoke to my aesthetic, I guess, as an artist or as a writer. I mean, in my life, like in the past 5 years, I would say I've been finding really deep mentorship with Black women in my life, and that's, I don't know, there is an opening there. It's not closed. It's not, and it's hard, I think, like as an Asian American woman, politics play a different role. It looks and feels differently in Asian and Asian American communities. So when I got connected to folks at Bax, for example, my cohort was with Nigel Whitson and Tanisha Christie, and those two have just been, blowing open my understanding of how I can really incorporate politics and my own identity in a radical way in my work.
So the play is set in Japan, and there's Japanese language in it. And I was so surprised when you told me you don't speak very much Japanese. And so what was part of the impulse for you to really excavate something that you didn't grow up with, and you grew up here?
Yeah, I will say my mom pretty much only speaks Japanese, so I do have to have some sense of Japanese in order to communicate anything with her. But yeah, my writing level is shit. Speaking level is elementary school or maybe middle school. But the desire to bring Japanese language into the play really was inspired by my growing and blossoming relationship with Aya. it was really after meeting her, and she was like, well, first, she always says, when I first read this script, it was so disgusting. I was so, like, she was really disgusted by the content of the play, but was so drawn to it because we share similar history and relationship to Japan and the US. So she really felt connected with the themes of the play. And then in talking with her, we were going to do this reading at the Star, and she suggested, why not bring in a group of actors who are Japanese heritage, instead of opting for Asian American with folks who have like fluency in English.
Mm-hmm.
And it was after inviting that initial team to the play that it really like took a turn there. We were so I guess just inspired by the energy that a Japanese heritage cast could bring to this piece. And then it really became about like, how can the play support these Japanese actors? And then that's when we started bringing more and more Japanese into it, because there's something, when English is your second language, there's such a struggle to convey, to speak English, and that struggle that Japanese heritage performers come up against in speaking English text is so present. And to offer this like relief of being able to speak your native language felt really important. So the play is playing with that.
Well, first of all, I have to say that I'm really grateful that your play is bringing to the surface, something like suicide, which in America is still very much taboo. And I love that in the play you get the sense that, in Japanese culture, suicide, as the play says, suicide is a kind of way to live the world with an amount of honor.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And in America, when someone kills themselves, it's a source of shame. And I just wondered, what, can you just share a little bit about that? And like,
Yeah, totally.
because it's so, it's I even got goosebumps because it's so different than what we see in American culture. And like, like if someone kills themselves, everyone's just like gossiping and like just like
What did they do wrong?
Yeah.
I mean, that exists in Japanese culture as well, for sure. I think in finding this forest, Jukai or Aokigahara, which is at the base of Mount Fuji, when I found that forest, I felt like a deep connection and like serenity to that place, even though it's so carries like such sad and dark energy. And I think it's because like this act of suicide, the honor that's connected with it is like deeply Japanese. And for me, that's played out as like a daily self-erasure or invisibilizing here in the States as a Japanese, Taiwanese, American human. And in this play, I think I wanted to go as far into the stereotypes of what American culture might consider, Japan's relationship to suicide is, like go so far in that it just, what am I trying to say? Like when you go so far into the stereotype that you just can't, you have to make it your own. Like it's a kind of
reclaiming.
Reclaiming, yes, that's it. Yeah, just like, there are just so many fucking Japanese stereotypes. And I wanted to go deep, deep, deep into it, reclaim it, and come out of the forest that everyone talks about, as myself.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So for those who can't see the play, what's a Japanese stereotype that you hate that you wish more people knew wasn't true?
I mean, just the stereotype of like the obedient, docile, serving Japanese or Asian woman is like so vile to me. It's vile because I adhered to it for so long to fit in, and then now I am working so hard to like bust out of that. And in the play, there's a line that's like, I read online that dating Asian women is a white nationalist rite of passage. I mean, that is so messed up.
And it's and that's a thing that actually happened.
It is a
Richard
thing.
Spencer had an Asian girlfriend.
It's a thing. It's so vile to me that my body, myself could be wrapped up in that. And so, yeah, the play feels like just acknowledging it and then like,
Let's tear it all down.
tear it down, extract.
So let's send us home. Tell us when and where people can see the play in New York, and also plug the play because it's coming out soon, right?
Yes.
When's it being published?
Oh, the play is being published same time as when the play will open, and we'll be selling the book that was published by 53rd State Press at the theater. You can also get it online. But the show itself, Suicide Forest, is at Bushwick Starr in association with My Yi Theater. And it opens February 27th, and it will, I think I can say this, I just got an email today that we're going to extend. So
Congratulations.
March 23rd will be the closing.
Haven't even opened yet and already extended. The dream.
Thank you so much, Kristine.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah. And if you're in New York, go see the play. And if you're not in New York, buy the play. Get a hard copy or get a digital copy for your Kindle or your iPad. So thank you again, Kristine. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So Jose, Kristine talked a lot about language and language barriers. And so for you as someone who also speaks multiple languages, have you noticed people judging you for having an accent?
Well, it depends. Like, people in America are racist as fuck. So depending on who you ask, sometimes I sound Colombian, sometimes I sound like I have no accent, which I think is, I don't think that is a compliment. I don't think that's a compliment. Because I mean, like, we have like people like Sofia Vergara, who's proudly Latina from Colombia. She has a thick as fuck accent, and she's the highest paid actress in television. So accents are good, people, because they mean you know shit. So this play talks a lot about death and stuff, and like, I know you don't believe in like heaven and all that stuff, but
No,
what
I
would
do
heaven
not.
look like for you if you think of the idea of heaven? What would it look like for you?
The beginning of Dumbo,
With a
where the
drunk elephant?
snow. Yes, heaven is a bunch of drunk elephants.
Because that would be like, I'm going to your heaven. Okay, Dumbo is so sad. We're really sad.
No, beginning of Dumbo, where there's storks on clouds and they make little baby elephants from clouds. So I think of heaven as a bunch of fluffy clouds and it's sunny all the time and there's cute men.
Oh.
Well, if you like this episode, please give us a like and subscribe. And fun fact, we also have a podcast where we review shows. This week, we're reviewing the new production of Stephen Sondheim's Merrily We Roll Along. Did they fix the musical? We're gonna find out.
That musical has no problem, so nothing to fix. Anyway.
We're gonna have a discussion.
Oh yes, we certainly will.
Anyway, well, thank you all for watching. And remember, theater's more fun when you take a friend or a date that you like. So take people.
Take your friend and say bye.
Bye.